Alright, so this video is about how you can do well in speeches, and this is more specifically in your school. Because I'm obviously a student, I think that you can apply this in not only speeches but presentations as well. And so this video based on my experience, and also it can have some correlations with some of the people you've met and their advices. It may not sound very unique, but I would like to emphasize these basic, I would consider basic because I've heard it quite a lot of times, but basic advices, and I want to strengthen those advices because I think that that is the very foundation and soil to improve and better your speech. So let's take a look at two major ways in which you can do better in your speeches. The first major way is to be confident, and second major way is to bring value to the audience. We're gonna start off with to be confident. And being confident is something that you've heard many times, but to emphasize the importance of being confident. So I see that a lot of times people lack confidence, or they aren't feeling it, they aren't in the moment when they're giving their speeches. It's because they are valuing what people think. They care about what others are thinking about them. So this is draw a lot of pressure, a lot of peer pressure, anxiety when it comes to present, especially towards a group of people. So I will refer this to what I call it the spotlight effect, and I think you've heard of the spotlight effect before. Is that you think that there are people judging you even though they aren't around. So I would advise people to not care about what others say, and even if there are comments and judgments, you should not take it to heart. And I'm gonna be honest with you, the best way to find a common ground and balance out the negative and the positive is to take each of those advices 50%. So if somebody compliments me positively, I would not take it too hard as well. I would just be like, okay, 50%, it wouldn't affect me from moving on. And if somebody throws a negative comment on me, I would just take it 50%. I would not make that override my decisions and my confidence such that I cannot move on. The audience are seeking benefits and advice from your speeches. They want value from your speeches. So you're giving a speech with a purpose, alright? So they are looking forward for the purpose of your speech. And they are not going to micromanage, they're not gonna pinpoint your flaws. They're not there to target you for who you are, but they are there to seek benefits and advice from your speech. Obviously, if you lose confidence, you will lose your audience. This I cannot stress enough. If you stop speaking, you're rolling the boat across this sea. You have to keep speaking. And if you start to stutter, you start to lose the flow in your vocal varieties, you start to speak in monotonous tone, you are bringing a lot of life and energy down. And so once that happens, the audience will be swayed away. And then you don't have to give speeches anymore because the audience are gone. There's nobody you want to give speeches to right now. So you don't want to lose your audience. It's important for you not to lose your confidence. So I would suggest it is best to practice confidence by doing more speeches. You practice the speech a couple of times before the actual day of the speech. So you can start, preferably by me, 2 weeks before the actual day. This does not consist of still writing the script. You should have gotten the script done. And then you start practicing 2 weeks before the speech. So you start to read out memorize the speech. In the week before the actual day, you try not to use the script. And now this brings me to my second major way to do well in speeches, which is to bring value to the audience. Let's forget about me, because I'm giving this speech to an audience. You know, that if there is no audience, what for do I give this speech? Why am I giving this speech if there is nobody who's going to take away anything from my speech? So you have to put yourself in the shoes of the audience and question, how can the audience benefit from my speech? Is there value for the audience in the speech? So during my speech, am I giving a motivational speech? Am I giving advices, tips and tricks? Am I influencing an idea to advertise your product, service? So if you are giving the following, you have to make sure that your audience receive the following. Which, if you start your speech with the purpose of, alright, today I'm giving this motivational speech. So your speech must motivate your audience, and your audience must be motivated. So you must be very sure with what your audience will take away from your speech at the end of the day. After they leave the speech, what is going to be in their head? What is going to stick within their head? And that is what you want to see. Because if you are just talking and you have no idea on the receiving end, which is your audience, are they receiving any value from your speech? Is this speech useful? That's a way you can validate whether or not your audience will take away anything from the speech, which is to do the speech in front of your parents, your peers, basically anybody that is willing to help out. But also, when you read it yourself, do you think that if I were to put myself in the positions of an audience, which is basically somebody who is not the writer of my script, when I read what I've written on the script, does it seem to put any value? Am I missing out some points? Because sometimes in your speech, not make sense of what you're trying to say. Like, sometimes there will be this barrier which is invincible. The audience may not take that perspective of yours, so they do not understand what you're trying to say. So it's important for you to re-look at your script and then read it as if you were put in the shoes of probably a baby or somebody that is super ignorant to the topic that you're trying to say. This will not only benefit this group of audience, which knows about the basic, but it will reach out to a bigger group of audiences that would be like, I'm actually extremely new from this, and they started from ground zero. So when they are able to pick up from your speech because you finally added in the baby steps of your advices and everything, they are able to not feel left out, and they are able to catch up with what you're trying to say. These are the two major ways in which you can do well in speeches. Finally, one thing I want you to take away from this video is to practice. To do well in speeches is to keep doing that. That comes to the end of my video. If you found this video useful, please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more. Bye bye.